everybody, SonGoshuaku here!
And welcome to my podcast review for WWE Money in the Bank 2019. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button followed by hitting the notification bell so that way you are notified as soon as my content is released. Alright, this year's Money in the Bank is in the books, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my thoughts on these matches here. So starting off with the pre-show, I thought it was for the championships, but it apparently was a non-title match, the Usos versus Daniel, Bryan, and Rowan. I find it interesting that Rowan always manages to get into some big spot, whether it's facing The Rock at WrestleMania, or before that, the Survivor Series main event match. So, shout out to Rowan, has been constantly able to find his way to keep himself in big parts of the storyline, so I'm happy for the guy. But anyways, this new wild card rule, I mean, like many fans have already said, it just waters down the brand split and makes it mean less, honestly. But with that said in mind, this was a pretty good match for the pre-show. It is interesting that the former WWE champion and tag team champions of SmackDown at WrestleMania are now on the kickoff, the pre-show. It is what it is. But the match was fine, and in the end, the Usos took out Rowan and Daniel Bryan and won the match. So now the announcers were teasing that possibly, even though the Usos are on Raw, they could possibly challenge for the SmackDown, which I'm not a fan of, like I said, because I'd rather see the brand split be taken serious, but it is what it is. Big win for the Usos. So the next match we're going to move on to is the women's, and this is the one that opened the show, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So this match was Naomi, who came out in cosplay tribute to Bumblebee from Teen Titans. That was pretty cool, though we didn't see her actually come out. She was just already in the ring. She took on Nikki Cross, who replaced Alexa Bliss, and then went on to take on Natalya, Dana Brooke, Ember Moon, and Bayley, Carmella, Mandy, they were all in the match. So this women's match right here for the ladder match, for the Money in the Bank ladder match, this is the fourth one they've done in history. I was there last year in Chicago for the third one. This match was good. I really liked it. I don't know if I would say it was if it was the best. I mean, definitely out of the four, because the first two they were okay. They were starts, but last year's women's Money in the Bank match was really good, and this one was too. A lot of really cool spots and everything. Especially Naomi was doing some very athletic stuff, from like walking through the ladders. They tried to collide two ladders with her, and she jumped over one and did a split to prevent them. There were some nice little spots, like Bayley being inside in between the ladders, and I think Natalya and Mandy were just squashing her with the ladders and stuff. It was pretty good. Everybody, I thought, did their parts really well. There was a part where Carmella looked like, and I haven't looked to see if it's a legit injury or not. It kind of looked legit the way it came off, where Carmella's leg maybe got clipped by the ladder, and they had to kind of improv, but she came back later in the match and everything, so maybe it wasn't something too serious, and I hope it wasn't. What was something, a big spot highlight in the match was Ember Moon outside the ring, standing on top of a ladder after Natalya cleared the ring. She jumped off and did the eclipse. She did the eclipse on Natalya, and man, that got a huge reaction out of the crowd. That was insane. That was pretty cool to see. Definitely probably the biggest spot in the match. And in the end, though, Carmella, like I said, did come out and try to prevent Mandy Rhodes from getting the ladder, but then Sonya Deville came out and speared Carmella, and basically she tried to take the lifeless body pretty much of Mandy as she walked up the ladder. But Bayley came up on the top, and it looked pretty funny the way they shot it, because they're like, oh crap, how did she get up here so fast? Anybody who plays those WWE SmackDown and the WWE current 2K games know how quickly they can climb up the ladder, or at least on the older SmackDown games from like PS2 and PS3 and stuff. But Bayley walks up there and just bam, punches her and shoves both of them off, and grabs the briefcase and gets a huge pop for the win. And I was glad to see Bayley win. She was my pick, and I actually did that in my no DQ predictions video. So yeah, I was glad to see Bayley win, and we'll have more to say about Bayley later. And now we're gonna move on to the next match, which was the United States Championship match between Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe. Now, when it comes to this match, you hear a lot of people complain about 50-50 booking, and that's pretty much what you got here. You know, last time when they were on the network for a special event, WrestleMania, Samoa Joe defeated Rey Mysterio in 1 minute, and this match I think I timed at about 1 minute and 37 seconds. So Rey Mysterio basically, I won't say it's a squash because he still struggled, but he picks up a quick victory over Samoa Joe when he went for like a Hurricane Rana and rolled him up. And I think Joe's nose may have got busted because when Rey Mysterio, he does the thing where he jumps off the ropes and he like lands, he's supposed to land on your chest, but I think he landed right on Joe's face, and I think it like boom, like broke his nose. Hopefully he's not a broken nose. I haven't checked anything on the news sites yet, but Joe's nose was definitely bleeding afterwards. But in this match, yeah, they showed that Samoa Joe's shoulder was clearly up, but the referee couldn't see it. So yeah, and like they like to say, or at least when it's convenient for them for the storyline, is that there are no replays in wrestling. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for CM Punk back in 2013 at the Royal Rumble. But anyways, after the match, Rey Mysterio, who wins his first United States Championship, he was celebrating with his son Dominic, and then Samoa Joe basically came out and blindsided Rey Mysterio out of frustration as Dominic watched his father get beat down in horror and everything. So we'll see where they're going to continue to go with this afterwards, but it just does go to show, and I know WWE is making so much money that it doesn't really matter, right? They're making so much money, but a lot of fans who these titles mean to, a lot of fans would like to see the United States champion have some consistency here. Like, I would have loved to have seen Joe go on a long dominant reign as U.S. championship, but unfortunately it was not meant to be for the way WWE likes to book their shows. All right, we're going to move on here to the steel cage match, The Miz versus Shane McMahon. All right, so you've been having Shane McMahon take the advantage of this whole best in the world gimmick and everything and stuff. All right, enough of that. But anyways, yeah, the match was Shane McMahon. He was trying to escape, and Miz kept pulling him in. There's even a part where Shane gets a chair and Miz beats him to it. A big part of the match was when Shane was about to escape the cage on the top, and Miz grabbed him, and basically Shane took a big bump off the cage onto the canvas. Looked pretty sick, and Shane McMahon is always about doing those big bumps. But towards the end of the match, Miz once again is trying to superplex Shane, this time off the cage as opposed to the platform they were on during WrestleMania. And what ends up happening is Shane ends up getting on the other side of this cage, and Miz is holding on to him by Shane's jersey. And what ends up happening is Shane puts his arms up, and of course, if you're wearing a shirt and there's no support underneath you, you fall right out of it. And that's exactly what happened. Shane McMahon falls to the ground shirtless with the victory. Literally, the victory slips right from Miz's hands, I guess you could say. And looks like this feud will continue. So now Shane is 2-0 against Miz in terms of victories now on the network / pay-per-view special. So we'll see where this goes from here. Yeah, I guess that's like 2 fluke victories now that Shane has. 2 fluke victories that he's gotten over Miz now. So we'll see when Miz finally gets that defiant victory against Shane McMahon. And then the next match was for the Cruiserweight Championship. Tony Nese defending the title against Ariya Daivari. I thought it was a pretty okay, solid match. Not the best of the few cruiserweight matches that I've seen, and of course I only watch the ones that they have here when they're on the main show, or if they have them on the pre-show and everything. I don't watch 205 regularly, but overall I think more importantly is that this match got the cruiserweights on the main card, and that is progress. You know, they took the former WWE and tag team champions from WrestleMania last month and put them on the pre-show, and these guys are on the main card. So that is definitely progress. But yeah, the match was solid. Tony Nese picked up the victory, continues the cruiserweight championship and everything. But like I said, I thought the match was okay, but not I don't think it was like top tier cruiserweight action compared to matches that I've seen before. All right, time to go ahead and break down the entire Raw SmackDown Women's Championship situation here. So starting off with the first match, we have Becky Lynch, who's been basically coming off hot from her WrestleMania win and doing the whole Becky 2 belts thing. So we had the first match was for the Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch defending that title against Lacey Evans, which honestly I am so glad to finally see Becky Lynch mixing it up with some different women for matches as opposed to Charlotte, which obviously would be the next match. But it's just good to finally see Becky against someone fresh, and everything. And that being said, the match was pretty fine. Lacey Evans got a lot of offense in, and Becky Lynch, it was pretty good, nice, tough match. In the end, though, Becky Lynch does get the disarm her on Lacey Evans, and Lacey immediately taps out. Would have been nice to see a struggle first instead of tapping out. Because you had Lacey Evans talk all this trash and everything and stuff for a whole month or so, and then she just taps out that quickly. So would have been nice to see more of a struggle. So yeah, Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship, which I predicted. And then immediately after, as Becky Lynch is on her way to the ring, Charlotte's music hits and Charlotte comes out. And basically the way this appeared, and from what the commentators were saying, is that the match with Charlotte was scheduled for later, so that way that Becky Lynch could get a break, a breather, a rest, get some rest in before her next match against Charlotte. But apparently, I guess the story here that the WWE wrote or booked was for Charlotte to goad Becky Lynch into taking this match while she just got through with an exhaustive match with Lacey Evans. And I guess the story here is that Becky Lynch wanted to be the defiant babyface that even if she's worn out and tired, she doesn't back down from a challenge, even though story-wise is like you don't have to fall into Charlotte's plan here. No, you get your rest in and take Charlotte on, but that's the way they wanted to project the story. So basically an exhausted Becky Lynch agrees to do the match now, and Charlotte basically immediately starts taking advantage of her and throwing her in the corner and everything. But Becky Lynch finds ways to survive, like when Charlotte goes for the natural selection on the outside of the ring on the apron. Becky manages to hang on to the ropes and Charlotte just goes flying. And I like those little details. Becky can't possibly take on Charlotte as her best right now. She's too exhausted, so she's got to find every little detailed thing she can do to win. Of course, when the referee is distracted, Lacey Evans comes out and delivers the women's right to the face of Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch basically, I believe, Charlotte, when she went for the pin, she kicked out of that, but then Charlotte came back in with a big boot, laid Becky Lynch out. And it's just interesting, the referee never even once tried to turn his head to look and see Lacey Evans, as if he couldn't see it out of the peripheral vision. But that's the story they were telling. And then Charlotte picks up the victory 1-2-3 to become the 9th time women's champion. So she's a SmackDown women's champion here. And with that said, Becky Lynch now stays on Raw, but I guess with this new wild card rule, she could eventually come back. But obviously, this is being done to keep her on that on the Raw brand. But things aren't done yet here. So afterwards, you have Charlotte, who is celebrating, but rather than just go ahead and celebrate, she and Lacey Evans decide to double team Becky Lynch, and Bayley comes out to the rescue. I think she helps take out Lacey Evans, and then Becky eventually goes to outside of the ring, and Charlotte tries to go for a spear, and Bayley ends up countering it and throwing, I forget if Charlotte ran into the post or Bayley threw her into the post. And after that, Charlotte is out, and Bayley basically starts looking, and she announces she wants to do her cash in now. So she pulls the unconscious Charlotte away, and whether go for the pinfall just to make for sure good measures that she stays down, she goes for the flying elbow. 1, 2, 3. Charlotte title reign is over just as soon as it begun, and Bayley is now a 2-time women's champion, becoming SmackDown women's champion for the first time, and Bayley is now back on top of the mountain of the women's division. And the fans went crazy with a huge celebration, and Bayley is now our SmackDown women's champion, and Becky remains our Raw women's champion. Now, while I would have loved for the whole Becky 2 belts thing to continue, I thought this was pretty well booked by WWE. Definitely, I did like the way they structured this, and you also can see their motives as well. It's clever, their cleverness or whatever to what they're doing here. Obviously, they see Roman Reigns, Vince McMahon. I basically what's been heard on other news sites. I don't find it too far fetched with the booking to see that Vince McMahon clearly sees Charlotte and Roman Reigns as the guy, the woman, and that's what they really want on SmackDown. That's what he wants on SmackDown, because they're going to Fox and everything. So I'm pretty sure we haven't seen the last of Charlotte's champion, and I think they're going to try and have her outdo her father's WWE world title records. So that being said, though, the way this is booked, you had the babyface get a big victory to keep the Raw title, and then lose to the heel for the SmackDown title through shenanigans that makes Becky look strong. So Becky didn't look weak in defeat, because they basically cheated, right? They basically took advantage of shenanigans and whatnot. And then you had Bayley, and then when that generated a lot of heat for the heel Charlotte, and then the babyface Bayley comes out to the rescue and basically makes her plan just blow up in smoke, right? Bayley gets the big win. That's going to make fans really hot for a big, huge babyface pop for Bayley, because she wins, the title. So when you think about it, you get the cheerful pop with Becky winning, you get the heel heat with Charlotte winning, then you get back to another big babyface pop for Bayley to win. So I thought it was well constructed by WWE. And like I said, you could see their own motives. They wanted to make sure Charlotte is on SmackDown to keep Becky on Raw, because they're going to want to still have Charlotte, be the face of the women's division there for Fox when that big deal comes. And this basically just makes them closer to being able to get as many championship title reigns on Charlotte's resume. And I look forward to seeing Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch continue their feud on Raw. And if Sasha Banks ends up staying with WWE, a Sasha versus Becky Lynch feud definitely has huge potential there, because I think we've only mainly seen them wrestle in NXT. Now we have Roman Reigns versus Elias. One of the reasons why often nowadays I just put on Raw and SmackDown as background noise while I'm working out or editing, instead of just sitting there and watching the show, especially particularly Raw for 3 hours, is because they do, I feel, a lot of these long matches that don't need to be that long. That time they can go elsewhere for more character and storyline development. And on this show, it felt like that's what they decided. Yeah, let's just go ahead and make some of these matches short. They don't need to be they don't need to be that long on here. So it's kind of like, where's this type of booking on the main TV shows that go on for hours and stuff? But so what happened here is Elias ended up attacking Roman Reigns from behind with a guitar as Roman was walking backstage. So he thought he took Roman out for the night, and instead he just came out. He did a new song that that got a lot of crowd heat, and he left, and he thought that was it. And then Roman came out and Superman punched him. I think on the ramp, threw him in the ring. Bell rang, spear, 1, 2, 3. Elias is done, and Roman walks out. I thought it was effective. I liked it. I liked it. I feel like we didn't need to see, and this is what I'm talking about, we didn't need to see Roman and Elias have this lengthy match, on the show, and I wish they do more things like this on the TV shows or on SmackDown, because look, the story, it did everything. You made Roman Reigns look strong, as a tough baby face to come back from a blindsided attack. You made Elias get the heel heat by attacking the baby face, and he got a tremendous amount of heat on the fans, and you really got what you needed to see from both these guys, and that was it. And let's move on to other things. I wish they do more stuff like this on the actual TV show. Just imagine if you had this type of match, how much more time there'd be left in a 3-hour show for all the humongous amount of talent they have on their roster now for storyline development. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Quick and to the point, and it didn't necessarily need to be long. All right, and then we come to the Universal Championship match, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. Now, just reading that on paper, you are thinking, oh man, these are going to be, you got two of the very best performers in WWE going at it. This match is going to be awesome. And you know what? This match was awesome, and there's way too much for me to go ahead and recap here, but this match was what you would want. These two guys went at it. They went back and forth, a lot of great near falls, a lot of great counters, a lot of great drama build up. Fans were crazy. This was exactly what you expect. I actually even like this match so much better than some of the matches we've seen AJ Styles in with like Samoa Joe or Nakamura. I mean, these guys really, I thought, delivered a really good match, and I think there's more left over for rematches to come later on in the year down the line and everything. So I loved it, man. These guys were going at it. Some of the nice things I remember though is that there's a spot where Seth Rollins went for the stomp, and what ends up happening is Nakamura. Oh gosh, I'm botching here. AJ Styles throws him in the air, basically throws him in the air and counters it into a Styles clash, and Seth Rollins kicks out of that. Man, yeah, these guys are just going back and forth at it. I honestly, check this match out for sure. Like I said, it's too much to recap, and I like the ending. It really, by the time you get to the end of this match, it's like Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, what do these guys got to do to beat each other, to defeat one another? And Seth Rollins ends up doing, the whole, I don't even know what the move's called. Did they ever get beyond just calling it the knee, the part where he grabs the arm and bam, knees him right in the face? But yeah, it gets AJ Styles down the ground. He does another super kick, doesn't yet put AJ Styles down to the ground, and Seth Rollins eventually ends up hitting the curb stomp on AJ Styles, and I like the way AJ sold it. And 1, 2, 3, Seth Rollins retains the Universal Championship. Like I said, I can't say enough good things about this match. Go out of your way definitely to watch it. If there's only a few select matches you can watch on this show, this is definitely one of them. And then at the end, AJ Styles, they keep him a babyface because he tells Seth Rollins this is a lot harder it's hard for him that he has to do this, but he's going to do the right thing here. And he extends his hand out. Seth Rollins shakes his hand, and you get that mutual respect among them. And there you go. Seth Rollins is still your Universal Championship, which I predicted. I'm glad they gave him a strong victory, and this was a really great match. Definitely don't mind seeing more of this down the line. So after two of the very best in the business went at it for the Universal Championship, and Lars Sullivan there was a segment with Lars Sullivan as well, destroying the Lucha House Party. It was now time for the WWE Championship match. Kofi Kingston defending the championship against Kevin Owens. I will admit, for me personally, it'd be nice to see a more serious side of Kofi Kingston, especially when the storyline is greatly built around Kevin Owens' betrayal and him constantly beating up his brother and Xavier Woods. They're pretty much like brothers at this point. It would be nice to see Kofi Kingston just be all business instead of coming out and chucking pancakes at the crowd. But in an interview, Kofi Kingston did make a great point that he got here at this WWE champion doing it his way, and his way has indeed got him there. So, but as a fan, for me personally, I would like to see it, see him as being a little bit more serious. I wouldn't even mind seeing SOS come back as his main theme and stuff, at least when he's competing by himself. But that being said, it was great to see Kevin Owens back to that vicious heel side and being, not afraid, not running away. That's the type of heel Kevin Owens I like, as opposed to when they've had him heel in recent years where he gets cowardly and scared. But that being said, this match was very much another good match. Too much stuff to recap. Both wrestlers put a tremendous amount of work into it, and there was a lot of great back and forth action. And of course, Kofi Kingston, proving that we, for a lot of us who have been following his career over the years, knowing that, hey, he can deliver those big matches, and I think he did so here. In the end, though, Kevin Owens goes for the senton bomb and lands right on Kofi's knees, who got him up right in time, and he hits the Trouble in Paradise. 1, 2, 3. Kofi Kingston picks up another third major title win, so I'm really glad that WWE is booking him as a strong champion. You can remember, I'm not sure how long of a title reign Kofi Kingston's gonna get, but I'm glad for whatever the amount of time they're doing it, WWE is at least making Kofi look strong. But like I mentioned earlier in the women's title match, it's clear with Roman Reigns being on SmackDown, we know when it comes time for that Fox deal in September, we know who Vince McMahon is gonna really want that WWE title on. Roman Reigns for sure. But in the meantime, I'm enjoying what they're doing. I'm glad Kofi Kingston's picking up some major WWE Championship victories, and hopefully they keep KO as that sadistic heel. That's always been my favorite Kevin Owens. And now we move on to the main event, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, of course, Sami Zayn, who ended up, using shenanigans to beat Braun Strowman to get into the match, he was tied up somewhere in the backstage earlier and was taken out of the match. And Triple H told Braun Strowman to leave, and Braun just said whatever. Of course, back in the Attitude Era, the babyface like Steve Austin or something would have been a rebel and would have defied the authority. It just goes to show you how much times have changed in the past 20 years of WWE. But anyways, what they've done here is they had all 7 other participants come out, and the 8th person, there was supposed to be an 8th replacement, but he didn't come out, so they just started the match with the other 7 contestants. So it was Andrade Cien Almas, yes, I'm going to still say that, versus Ricochet, versus Drew McIntyre, versus Finn Balor, versus Baron Corbin, versus, yes, I'm still going to say this, Mustafa Ali, versus Randy Orton. Man, too much stuff to recap in this match, but it was insane. Man, it was a pretty insane ladder match. His hats goes off to all the guys in this match before we get to the conclusion, that is, because they really put in a lot of effort, from Randy Orton just throwing dudes left and right onto the announce table. Ricochet, who I thought was going to do a lot of crazy spots off the ladder, more so did a lot of crazy bumps. There's one part where I think like Randy Orton or Drew McIntyre, one of them threw him and he went outside the ring through the ladder. Finn Balor, poor Finn Balor's back. Finn Balor's back took a devastating beatdown in this match. There was a part where Andrade goes up on top of the ring, goes up on runs up the ladder, right? And there's another ladder platform, which I didn't know if it was gonna hold up. It was in between the ropes and the ladder, and he does a sunset flip over Finn Balor. And Finn Balor goes flying off the top of the ladder, and his spine it hits the ladder, and the impact of the ladder falling down, he bounces off the ladder and falls right back onto the ladder again, and then gets propelled off onto the ring. Sick bump. They showed it in slow motion, and you really see the devastation of it. It was crazy. Like I said, everybody was really doing their I thought Baron Corbin did a tremendous job doing the heel heat, and every time he came close to winning a second one, like everybody just did, I thought, a tremendous job. But then when everybody is all beaten down and broken down from the match, you hear Brock Lesnar's music hits, and he comes storming down to the ring. So as I mentioned earlier, Sami Zayn was taken out, and Triple H said there would be a replacement, but it wouldn't be Braun Strowman. So essentially it's revealed here that by the announcers that he has to be the 8th man, just like a WCW bash at the beach. Is Hogan the man? Is Hogan the third guy? Is he the third guy, right? So Brock Lesnar, I think Mustafa Ali was the one that was on top of the ladder. He's about to grab the briefcase, and Brock Lesnar ends up just going up to the ladder, throws him off of there, and the crowd is booing, which is funny because I think they gave him a pop initially, but the crowd is booing, and Brock Lesnar grabs the briefcase and wins. So he joins, I believe, Sheamus and Edge to be the only 3 men in history to win Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, and Money in the Bank. And this may have been, I think, Brock Lesnar's, I guess technically his first ladder match that he's been in. Well, you know what? I said this. That was definitely a heat generator. That was definitely a heat generator conclusion right there, because man, you had to have all 7 of these guys put in so much hard work and effort. And then Brock Lesnar just literally runs down the ring and runs up the ladder to essentially grab the briefcase after all these guys' hard work. It's going to generate a lot of heat, but this is probably most likely their way to get Brock Lesnar a rematch for the Universal Championship against Seth Rollins next month for the next Saudi Arabia show, Super Showdown, I guess, 2. Yeah, it's going to work in terms of getting heat, but I can totally understand why their fans mad about this, and why their fans that can't wait for hopes AEW knocks it out of the park with their new TV deal and everything because of stuff like this and everything. This could have been used to propel someone new, one of the newer stars, but instead they're going right back to Brock Lesnar, and it's like, okay, right? So my only thing from this is I just hope they have Seth Rollins get a clean victory against Brock Lesnar instead of the whole low blow business that they did at WrestleMania. But knowing WWE, especially with it being announced that Brock Lesnar has decided to retire from MMA in total, hopefully this isn't their way of putting the title back on Brock Lesnar, and we're right back to where we've been the last couple of years. So we'll see. But overall, match was definitely tremendous, and in the ending, it is typical WWE for you. Though I will say, at least here, there is a storyline reason for how Brock Lesnar is going to get a rematch, as opposed to just giving him a rematch despite WWE saying no more rematches. But anyways, my final thoughts on the show overall, despite some very weird referee spots that happen in the match where even the commentators are like, what are the referees doing? I thought overall it was a pretty good, solid show of good wrestling to great wrestling action and stuff like that. But I will say the ending of this show truly proves why, and I'm not going to say they're going to become competition, because that's a tremendous amount of work in just years of building your brand that it's going to take in order to become competition at WWE. But this shows the importance of why AEW seriously needs to become a serious alternative to WWE programming, because I mean, just look at this. WWE knows they're making so much money they can do whatever they want, and this is the importance of AEW. The professional wrestling business as a whole will be much better with more serious alternatives, and if they become that serious alternative, possibly maybe one day somewhere long down the line, possibly they'll be able to become a serious competition at WWE. But the professional wrestling business is more better for it. And that ending, I think, tonight really shows this. But that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast review of WWE Money in the Bank. My social medias, you can see, are here on the thumbnail, the video, and they're in the description below. So make sure to go ahead and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe here to my YouTube by hitting the notification bell so you are notified as soon as my content is released. And also check out Battle of Deception, the trailer to my inspired anime live action film. I have a link right here as well as the description below. Until then, everybody, take care.